Introducing the Fantasy Sport Doctors with your host, Dr. Mitch Brecky, Dr. Nick Curry, and Dr. Nick Healy.
Oh, well, top of the morning to ya.
Welcome to the clinic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
Hey, hey, hey! How we doing this week, boys?
Nick's a little extra excited today.
Yeah. Oh, last week I was underexcited. This week I am pumped.
I bet you are.
It's the first week you haven't had that short ice down your throat.
Last couple weeks. Now we're going to be watching you two guys do it.
And don't forget to cup the balls.
Turning cop, baby.
So, how'd you guys do last week?
You know, I placed in a couple tournaments, won some money. Not too bad.
Love it.
Placed in a couple, I think ended up walking with like $15 worth of winnings and, $2-3 buy-in tournaments. Not bad, but...
I started off the week hot. I was looking at, I think I sent you the picture.
I was like, damn.
I was like ninth in like a tournament of 30-some thousand, winning like $250 in the tournament on a $3 game. And then it slowly started to crumble.
Yep,
Dwindled.
But I still placed. And,
like your manlyhood after these ices.
Yeah, right. I did get beat in my double up, but I was able to make that up in the tournament games, which usually is the other way around. So I broke out basically even this week. So it is what it is. You can't win every week, right?
Can't win every week. That's right. That's right. How did our calls go for you two gentlemen?
I did, some of my fight or flights, but where I really hit last week was my flat lines. Who'd you want to stay away from? And my first flat line in the tournaments was Matt Ryan.
Oh,
I like that.
Oh, that sounds like...
That Eagles defense has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz has got him playing pretty well. My other flat line for the week was Gronk.
Nice.
We talked about playing Martellus. It might be a fight or flight, but Gronk didn't show up.
We're going to do these ices together, but we had a little wager going on. Yep. 20 points for Matty Ice. I thought he was going to make it. Obviously, he didn't do that last week.
I was impressed by Dr. Brecky.
I won that one,
yeah.
But Dr. Brecky also
I made two bets.
Yeah, he did.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, he did. And one was against me, which he obviously lost because he's going to be getting down one knee. He said Dennis Pitta was going to score a touchdown, which, again...
You didn't want to take either 12 points or a touchdown. He didn't get either of those things.
No, he did not. So he has not scored. You can add another week to that in, I believe, 10 weeks. So he hasn't scored once this season. So, boys, I say you guys cheers and get down on a knee and pray to the Smirnoff gods. Oh, it's so great watching this.
I approach you from the front and kind of like, wow,
oh,
this
isn't that
dude's pretty
cute?
serious.
Brotherly love.
Then I walk away and you're like,
oh, Brecky's killing you, Curry.
With 2 R's.
Wow. Jeez. You need a little nipple with that one? Oh, wow. A lot harder to chug that cold Smirnoff. He's still going.
Stings the nostrils.
Oh, I can see you guys crying a little bit. Ooh. Is that because you guys are cold or because you guys just lost some manlyhood?
A little bit.
I'll tell you what.
It's a little harder to chug that than a shotgun.
Well, it's not like shotgun and a beer, that's for sure.
That malt liquor will get you.
It's these thin little bird lips.
You're going to get anywhere with those things.
Open up the throat, man. Open up the throat. Oh, good job, boys. I'm glad you guys paid up. Good job for paying up. Well, let's move on. Taking it over, Dr. Curry.
Oh, first of all, I think this week Dr. Healy has to lay himself back out on the line.
There's got to be
a Dr. Healy wager this week. You took last week off because you were kind of down on the
I did not. I bet Brecky. I just won.
Barely.
I did antagonize you into that bet.
Yeah.
You had nothing to do with it.
My soul was deep and down on the dirt after chugging it 2 weeks in a row. I didn't know anything with it.
3 weeks in a row.
Third time was not going to be the charm for me.
Well, that was fun. Ices taste good.
They actually do taste quite delicious.
They're not too bad. Yeah.
But like
Smirnoff, if you're listening, we keep making those ices because we love them.
Yeah. I love watching it. It's hilarious.
Do we want to move on to our objective portion?
Let's go to our objective.
All right.
Let's do that.
So every week we're going to take the projected point totals from the top 6 scoring teams by Vegas. We do this by taking the over-under or the spread of all 16 games. We identify the top scoring teams favored by Vegas odds makers, and then we build lineups from them, and we win money.
That is correct, Dr. Curry. So we're going to start off for you with the number 1 scoring team of the slate, and that will be the New England Patriots. They're playing at the San Francisco 49ers. The over-under is 51 points. New England's favored by 13 points in this game, and the projected score 32. How are they going to do that, Dr. Brecky?
San Francisco's defense, not very good this year.
You say?
At all. They are a 4-3 hybrid defense. They're newer. Jim O'Neill's their coordinator that came over actually from Cleveland. Another terrible defense this year. when it comes to the rush, they're pretty much almost worse than the league and everything. Giving up 5.1 yards per carry, worst in the league. 13 touchdowns given up on the ground, second most of any team in the entire league. You're looking at players that are going to be helping this Patriots team on the ground is going to be good picks for you. And they got a stable of running backs now. We can talk about this.
That's going to be an interesting
tough picks.
Yeah.
San Francisco's down. I like a lot of players from this game if you're picking on the New England side.
I mean, they are favored by 13 points on the road. That's it's pretty ridiculous.
No.
What did we see from last week from the 13 points? They didn't cover.
They didn't. We said
Cardinals did not cover the 13 points.
And we said don't take San Fran with the points.
So I expect this one to be a higher scoring game. I expect the Patriots to win this game. I think the Patriots are flat out a better team than the Cardinals. It's a non-divisional game, which those divisional games in that division are always closer. I actually lean the other way on this one. I think the Patriots come in
cover the spread
and cover 13 points.
I do. I think they're going to come in hot after losing that game to Seattle last week.
Yep.
We talked about the backfield. We're going to talk about it a little more, but it's going to be pretty interesting what they decide to do with Deion Lewis, whether it's going to be him carrying the load or it's going to be James White or LeGarrette Blount. So it's going to be something to pay attention to throughout the week. I could see who to start.
I could see this being a big-time Tom Brady game. Dink and dunk, throw some touchdowns.
And he didn't get any touchdowns last week.
Right.
It was all LeGarrette. And you look at it, maybe this is a big bounce back.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Another guy, Gronk, we don't know what is going to happen. He sat out practice today on Wednesday because of his chest ailment.
Punctured lung.
No,
Nobody
it's
knows
not a punctured
what it
lung.
is.
So they came out and said it's not a punctured lung, but he did miss half the game, so something's wrong there. They just haven't come out and said
why
it.
would they come out and say it's a punctured lung and then backtrack?
No, they thought originally it might have been a punctured lung.
Okay.
After the game, but that did more.
Well, I've had a collapsed lung in high school, and I understand what that injury
probably
entails.
sucks.
It's not fun. And then when they say he's going to come back the next week, you don't come back contact a week after you either puncture or even.
Well, if he had a pneumothorax with it, they physically have to cut his chest open.
They have to put a chest tube in.
Yeah, so they obviously
physically have to put.
Yeah.
But then you have to let the lung heal. And my doctor's prognosis when I had a chest tube in, I was done for the season. He said anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks before any contact.
Yeah, but they said that it was not a punctured lung, so I want to be clear on that.
Yep.
But there is something
Chest
going on with his chest. So who knows what that is, and we'll find out probably throughout the week, probably Sunday morning, where you're going to be a game time decision. But if he does not play, Martellus Bennett is going to be
huge
in your lineups. Must start. He's
I like him
extremely inexpensive. We'll talk about it a little more. So,
Straight cash, homie.
all right, next game we have for you. That's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're at the Cleveland Browns, still looking for their first win. The over/under is 49. Pittsburgh's favored by 8 points in this one, and the projected score 28.5 points. You don't have to probably talk much about
Cleveland's
this one.
not getting their first. They're not getting their first win this week.
All we hear is about their defense. They can't stop a nosebleed.
Ain't no stopping the nosebleeds this week at all. Cleveland is the worst in most touchdowns given up in the air. 25 this year. 25.
In 9 games?
In 9 games. Well, yeah, 9 games with the bye, yep.
Shout out to K-Fan on this one. I think the only other statistically worst team in NFL history was the 2008 Lions.
Hey,
Oh, there you go.
The
Okay.
roar has been restored.
Yeah,
The
Motor
roar.
City Kitties.
They're a 3-4 base defense. Doesn't really matter what they're playing because they can't stop anything in the air. I love Big Ben and whoever he's throwing the ball to this week.
Love all Pittsburgh players.
I do, except a guy that we were high on last week, which we did not know about the medical thing going on with Sammy Coates. He had 2 broken fingers, and they just decided not to tell us for 2 weeks. So we were all high on him. We're like, why is he not playing? Because he basically had a broken hand.
Broken hand, can't catch the ball.
Not good thing to break when you're a receiver. You need to catch the ball.
Hence, he had 0 points. Sorry, you guys, if you guys listen, play Sammy Coates, because everybody was high on him. You listen to any other podcast, or I'll talk about Sammy Coates.
He should have been on the injury report. That was.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I don't know why he wasn't on the injury report.
Yep.
So.
My fingers hurt. But now your back's going to hurt because he's full landscaping duty. So, yeah, basically everybody, I like Eli Rogers coming out of the slot quite a bit in this one. And, again, I think we'll probably talk about a lot of these players for more to come.
Yeah, I mean, they're even giving up 275 yards averaging per game. I think it's top 3 in the league worst. That's a lot of yards.
It is a divisional game, boys. Do you think there's any chance that they come back
throw
and
that out the
cover?
window with the Browns just because they're so bad this year?
This is on the road.
Robert Griffin.
Big Ben doesn't play.
He's not
the same
playing this
He's
week.
not playing. It's still Kessler.
Yeah.
One thing to watch on this one.
Kessler McCoy.
Junk points from
Brown
Pryor.
Stadium. That's an outdoor stadium, right?
Yep.
We got a pretty major
Storm coming through Friday, Minneapolis. It might work its way over into Ohio.
That could be something to watch. If this game turns into a weather situation, make sure you're checking your lineups on Sunday. And there are some other games to target with some teams that are supposed to score a lot of points.
That are indoors.
And hey, if it is weather like that, Le'Veon Bell is even a better play.
Yeah, I like Le'Veon Bell.
All right, next game we have the Tennessee Titans. They're at Indianapolis. The over-under is 52.5. Indianapolis is favored by 3 points at home, and the projected score 27.75 points.
Tennessee Titans.
I love Tennessee, to be fair.
You do?
Oh, dude.
Please.
Have you seen Mariota lately? 4 touchdowns last week, 3 touchdowns the week before. It's been hot.
Yeah, so you like Tennessee against the Indy D.
I do.
Okay.
Well, and we talked about the stat earlier. They're giving up 344 yards passing
I bet
at
Mitch
home.
has some stats for you.
Please give me some.
Well, I mean, Indy's defense, they're giving up 4.7 yards a carry. It's probably top quarter of the league and worst. Their pass defense, the pass defense of Indy has only given up, so if you're going to go for Mariota or something, they've only actually intercepted the ball 3 times. It's worse than the league in takeaways in their secondary.
So
they've been terrible. They've had a lot of injuries over. But so you look at Mariota, who's been hot. I know Indy's favored here, but there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. If you want to ride the hot hand of Mariota, I don't think you're worried about a lot of turnovers, especially from this defense. They're not putting pressure on the quarterback. They're not getting takeaways. They've given up 17 touchdowns in the air. They're giving up 4.7 yards a carry.
Highest scoring game in the slate.
And, and that's Tennessee's the underdog. Now, if you go the other side of the coin, I mean, what do you guys like with Indy going against Tennessee?
We talked about this. We like T.Y. Hilton. We like Dante Moncrief.
T.Y. Moncrief. I like throwing the ball against Tennessee. I think they have a decent rushing defense.
They do. They have
Frank Gore.
Yeah, they've only given up 5 touchdowns this year, and they're averaging only 93 yards a game. I believe that's probably second or third best per game average in rush defense in the entire league.
I got you right here. Tennessee. Oh, if you're just talking about yardage wise,
just yardage per game.
That's going to be about 5th.
Okay.
So you have like Baltimore, Carolina.
Yeah, I mean they're the top tier defense when it comes to, and only giving 5 touchdowns. That's top 5 in the league on defense for rushing on the rushing attack.
So maybe stay away from Frank Gore this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
I think you play. I mean, DeMarco Murray. I think you can play Mariota. I think Mariota is going to be a little bit more.
He's going to be heavily owned.
Yeah, coming off such strong weeks in tournament games and cash games, he could be pretty high owned.
It's a cash game play, but not a tournament play then.
I like Rashard Matthews.
Touchdown machine, man.
He is.
He just does. He goes the last 5 weeks. He's had a touchdown.
Killing it.
So yeah. A thing you want to look at is Dwayne Allen still in the injury report for Indianapolis, because if he has Jack Doyle, it might be a sneaky play for your tournament play. So, all right, moving on to the next game. We have the Thursday night game. That's our New Orleans Saints. They're at the Carolina Panthers. Over under 52 points. Carolina is favored by 3.5. Projected score 26.75 points.
Thursday night games. We don't ever know what you're going to get. It could be crappy. There's been a couple decent ones, but
you have 3 days to prepare.
There's not a lot of prep time. New Orleans defense is kind of middle of the pack and everything. They've actually improved since the beginning of the first half of the season. They were just horrendous. I mean, they were at the bottom of the league of everything. Right now, passing, they gave up 13 touchdowns in the rush. They gave up 12, giving up a little over 100 yards of rushing per game. I don't have a whole lot to say when it comes to New Orleans. It's kind of plain Jane now. I mean, Laurinaitis is gone. They're going to probably drop Laurinaitis. He's on the IR.
And
they're saying release him.
Yeah.
So, and he wasn't a flashy kind of linebacker, but he's a leader on the defense that gets things done for him. I know you're not high on Benjamin.
He's just let me down too many times.
Yeah.
I've said he's going to be the best player this week. He had a really good start of the season.
Yeah, I was
first
just going to say
games.
he started very hot.
And then he cooled down and he came back up to life a little bit, but he just hasn't scored a touchdown in multiple weeks.
So listen to this. As far as passing defenses go, Carolina ranks 23rd in yards, but they've given up 17 touchdowns, which is actually 4 more touchdowns than the New Orleans Saints defense has given up through the air.
You're thinking Breeze on the road?
I mean, Breeze has been on fire recently. He's been just killing it.
He always has been, though. He's just going to stay. He always throws the ball a lot.
He's got his number one receiver,
but he's away.
Michael Thomas. He's got the possession guy and Brandon Cooks.
What was with Willie Snead last week coming through with 2 touchdowns?
I didn't see that coming.
I did not see Willie Snead either.
No one saw that coming. Jeez. But then you also have one person we talked about that's on Carolina. We talked about Jonathan Stewart last time they played. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, had 85 yards. So that's a guy that you could probably sneak into your lineup there.
Yep.
I don't like Kelvin Benjamin, but what do you guys think about him?
I like Calvin Benjamin in this game. I think I saw a stat. We'll go over the stats a little bit later because he's one of my picks. But I love Greg Olsen in this game. New Orleans has traditionally been terrible against tight ends, and Greg Olsen's one of the best in the league with Cam Newton throwing him the ball. I actually like Cam Newton running the ball in here quite a bit. So yeah, I could see this being a really high-scoring game. Last game played was 38-41 in New Orleans.
And Carolina scored the majority of their points in the second half of that game.
I'm just looking over a couple things. Actually, New Orleans, their pass defense gives up the most yards per game in the entire league.
See?
292 yards per game. You said 13 touchdowns they've given up? Yeah.
But that's compared to the Carolina team, which is 2,400 yards, compared to New Orleans is 2,600. So in 10 games, New Orleans given up 200 more yards, but they've also given up 4 fewer
let's come to a consensus here. You can basically pick a lot of players from this, and you're going to be just fine in your lineup because they're projected to score 52 points, and it's going to be over. Let's just assume that.
So I would. I mean, there's a couple of games on this slate that I'm looking at that I would consider playing players from both sides. Saints Panthers is one of them. Titans Colts one of them.
This is a divisional game where the NFC West is games that are always low scoring. These divisional games in the AFC South are always high scoring.
Boom, because the defenses are awful.
You got Atlanta, you got Carolina,
New Orleans,
NFC, right? Sorry, NFC South. Sorry, I apologize. These divisional games are always high scoring, but the NFC West games like Arizona,
low scoring,
and they're always low scoring. In Seattle, and it's just how it always ends up.
Panthers must win game. I mean,
they can't.
It's a must win. It's a must win for both of them.
Like 0-1.
It's a must win for both of them. They're all sitting about the same place. They're chasing Atlanta. So it's a must win for either one. It's gonna be probably a pretty good game. Probably the best Thursday game that's been on the slate so far.
I like this game a lot. I think this is a great game to pull players from.
All right, moving on. We're going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're at Detroit. We talked about the Roar. It's been restored. They're at the top of the NFC North Division. They're projected to score 26.75 points. Hey man, I'm feeling it too. I'm a Vikes fan, man. The over-under is 47, and the Detroit's favored by 6.5 points in this one. Tell me about them defense.
Okay, defense. I like the air attack of Detroit this week. First, the Jacksonville Jaguars got some young talent out there, like we've talked about. I've been high on their secondary most of the year, but they still only have 3 interceptions, 3 takeaways from that secondary. Not much. Giving up about 200 yards per game. This is an at-home game for Detroit indoors. I see a bounce back from some of the receiving crew that we've been talking about. We will talk about as we go further here with the Detroit Lions. Matty Stafford's there. Don't like the rush against the Jacksonville Jaguars as much. I know we were going to talk about a little bit of Theo Riddick later. Like I talked about many times before in past podcasts, the Jacksonville Jaguars are a run-stop. That's their mentality. They want to run-stop first, and that's based off the coaching staff and Coach Wash.
You say that.
Gus Bradley. They want to try to do that. They're not doing it, are they, though?
No, they are ranked 28th in the league in rushing defense, giving up 124 yards per game and 9 touchdowns on the ground. Okay. So they might try to do that, but they sure as hell ain't.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you look back at who Jacksonville has played, that probably gives you an idea of
they've been playing some tough teams.
Well, they have 2 wins, and I'll tell you who their wins are against: the Bears and the Colts. which they beat the Colts 30-27.
Early, first 3 games of the season.
Early in the year, yeah. But they have losses to the Packers, the Raiders, the Titans, the Chiefs, and most recently they lost to the Texans.
That's still not many very good running backs.
Some of those were close games, though, weren't they?
Yeah, a lot of them were close. They're coming down the wire. I'm just saying.
Junk points at the end.
No, they're pretty close. I mean, Titans was 36-22, Raiders 33-16, Chargers 38-14. So,
but for me, there's not a lot of people I'm liking to play in this game. I said I do like Matt Stafford.
Yep.
I do like Theo Riddick a lot. And we're talking about some of the players. We're talking about your fight or flights, because a lot of these players are going to be boom or bust for your lineups. And if you put them in, they could go off. Marvin Jones could have 2-3 touchdowns. Who knows? But then Golden Tate might not have anything.
Yep.
So it's all going to be boom or bust plays. Could they be essential probably for your tournament play? Who knows?
Well, looking at this, I really, really like Marvin Jones, and I know he's been down the past couple of
2 to 3
weeks. I think he's kind of a sleeper play for tournament games because he is basically the number one receiver there. He at least was towards the start of the year, and he's only costing you $5,000 in DraftKings. That's a steal.
That's why he's a sneaky play. But that's why all these guys are kind of boom or bust, because you're not sure what you're going to get. And that's why I like Theo Riddick, because he's going to get
even 5 catches for 50 yards doubles your salary there.
Fine.
And I think we're all looking at this as the track record in the NFC North. This is a classic position for the Lions to absolutely fail miserably.
I hope. We need it. We both need it.
This is when the roar gets a scratch in their throat and they can't roar anymore.
But traditionally, the last few years, they have been a second half team. Look at last year. I believe they started 1-7, 2-7. They reeled off 8 straight wins and almost won. They lost that one game to a Hail Mary to Green Bay, which was ridiculous. Great game, by the way. But anyways, let's move on to the last game on the slate. We have your Green Bay Packers. They're at Washington, and guess what? They're not favored in this one. Washington's favored by 2.5 points. Over/under is 50.5. And Washington's going to score 26.5 points, probably more. Yep. Take it away.
Well, as you can see, the only 2 teams on here that aren't favored that are away are playing the Browns and the 49ers. So that's probably why they're favored.
Nick's just upset he can't play any Packers in the lineups.
This
is like the first week he can't play a Packer in a lineup.
They're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Jeez, okay. I think I need to give you another tampon after that ice.
When we're talking about the Washington defense, the Green Bay defense, not very good in the pass. Actually very stout in the run. We're going to talk about some of our flat lines later this week or later this podcast when it comes to Washington, some of the run offense. Rush defense for the Packers only giving up 84 yards, best in the league. Third in the league, only giving 5 touchdowns on the ground. It's actually very good. And then Claymaker's coming back, apparently, they're saying maybe this week. That's a good piece of the puzzle for the defense on Green Bay. I would steer clear of a lot of what you're going to do with the rush offense with Washington, geared more towards their pass, because the Green Bay Packers have given up the 3rd most touchdowns in the air, 19 total. Not great. They've been trying to figure it out in the secondary.
And they keep getting hurt back there, too.
Yeah, they do. Clinton Dix has actually been playing. He's been playing a pretty good year.
I just want to ask his mother, so he came out of the womb, he looks like he's kind of funny. It's come Cleveland Dix. How does that happen?
Was Clinton the president when he was born?
His last name's Clinton Dix.
Spring break in the ghetto.
But he might have been born when Clinton was president. I'm just saying that.
That's kind of funny, I guess. All
right. So one thing that does help the secondary is a pass rush. And if you look at how much Julius Peppers has been playing, he's too old to be playing that much.
Yeah.
He's only mainly playing on passing down, so I thought.
Well,
but there you go.
I mean, they're passing every down right now on the Packers.
Because they're just that bad.
Getting Clay Matthews back, having the edge rusher, kind of getting in that quarterback's ear, giving him the jitters, the jumpsies. He's cha-chaing around back there. He's going to throw some picks.
Cha-cha.
I just like to see him on his back. That's my favorite position for Rodgers.
Oh, I bet it is, Nick.
Power top.
Child, please.
I like Jamison Crowder, we talked about it.
Yep.
I'm not as huge on Jordan Reed this week, but I liked him last week against the Vikings, so who knows? This is probably a week he goes off. I don't like Pierre Garçon. Never really have. I don't
He's
think...
more of a possession receiver.
Jackson, is he still going to be out?
Actually, Pierre Garçon leads the Washington Redskins in targets.
Well,
which is surprising.
Yeah.
They're all about 45, 46, 44, 45. So they're all about that group
we don't
right
like
there.
Fat Rob, right?
Fat Rob? No, we don't like Fat Rob.
No,
like
we're going to talk about
we're
that
breaking
coming up.
into
We don't
that,
like
so-
Fat Rob,
No.
so.
All right.
I'm going to stick with this, Nick. You got to pick some of the Packers this week. I mean, this is a third highest scoring game of the slate, so fourth highest scoring game. I would say, Aaron Rodgers.
Well, of course, you are going to pick one of the Packers.
Aaron Rodgers, the highest scoring fantasy player the past 3 weeks.
I mean, yeah, I'm fine with you playing. You can definitely play Aaron Rodgers. A guy who I would really like to play is James Starks, and we'll talk about why.
There you go.
They've given up 13 rushing touchdowns this year, and I believe that's second worst in the league. Their rushing defense is awful for Washington.
And don't worry
So there
about-
are players you're going to play for Green Bay,
Right.
but I just don't like him. So there's that.
There you go. So there you go.
So James Starks, people.
Yeah, James Starks. If I'm saying play James Starks, it takes a lot out of me.
All
Let's
right.
go.
And
On to the assessment.
We did skip something. I'm drinking Todd the Axeman.
Ooh.
Todd.
See, I mixed it up this week, and I'm going with a brewery called Magic Hat. They're out of South Burlington, Vermont, and Rochester, New York. It's not quite a pale ale, it says. It's a delicious called Number 9, which is basically an ale, and it's delicious. Nice and smooth.
I'm going with what was left in the fridge from last week, the Flip Switch.
Tin Whiskers,
Flip
baby.
Switch IPA from Tin Whiskers Brewing Company. This is out of
Local.
St. Paul, Minnesota, local brewery. Actually pretty good. Doesn't bite too hard, but it gets the job done.
You like that? You like that?
I do like the Tin Whiskers. All right, so moving on. This week for tournament games, we are playing the $4 $275,000 kickoff special. That is a Thursday night game, and again, remember, you're going to have to play the Thursday night games if you want in on the Carolina-New Orleans game, which should be a high-scoring game.
This is one of those weeks I wish there was a game in London, so you could play the Thursday and Sunday morning games. Because
I have one in Mexico City.
I like to cha-cha.
Talk about cha-cha.
Cervezas around.
Cheers, my boys. I like
Hey.
cervezas around. That's fine with me.
Cheers.
Let's get the mood right. Let's go. Thank you. All right, let's move on to our fight or flight.
All right, well... Fight or flight player.
All right, so this is a huge fight or flight player for a tournament game. That is going to be the tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ladarius Green. He's in his second game back, and this guy is ginormous. He's 6'6", 240 pounds, and he ran a 4.4540 at the combine. He's a freak.
Oh, well, top of the morning to you.
He did have 4 targets and 3 receptions last week, and he was looked at in the red zone. He's a huge target. He's going up against Cleveland, that ranks dead last against tight ends, who's given up 9 touchdowns and 765 yards to the tight end position this year. That is why he's my fight or flight, and I think he's going to have a come-out game this week.
Good call. All right, my fight or flight for the week is someone who's coming back off injury, playing against a defense who's given up the most yards per carry of any defense in the San Francisco 49ers. It's Deion Lewis. Interessante. This is a huge fight or flight here. You're not sure how many carries he's going to get. You got Blunt, James White, who have been carrying the load, been doing a very good job, as you can see what Blunt did last week, and James White coming out of the backfield, more of a Deion Lewis kind of guy catching the ball. Deion Lewis could get you your point. He's 4,900 in Fanduel. DraftKings, I believe he's a little over 5,000. If he mixes in and he steps in just like he has before, it could be a huge value play for yourself. It's a tough call though.
He's only 3,300 draft.
3,300. You get 2 catches and 40 yards receiving, and you make it up. So
It's a risky play.
it's a very risky play. It's a tournament fight or flight to the core right here.
But the thing is, if he does play, he's going to get a lot of. I think he's getting a lot of work.
He will.
But the thing last week, he was basically a healthy scratch. They didn't want to bring him in yet.
Well, that maybe this is the week they finally let him go. That's the thing.
I think what we do, we take what Gronk went through as an example of what the Patriots do. So they might start him, but they might play him just a little bit, kind of like what they did with Gronk and ease him in until he gets comfortable with the situation.
It depends.
I personally think that was game plan. I think they looked at it and said, we're going to give LeGarrette Blount 4 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns.
You almost had 4.
Whatever. But that's what I'm saying. Like, why use passing with Tom Brady when we can just get this big fat guy to run it in the end zone?
Yeah.
So I think this game sets up better for a James White or a Deion Lewis and more of a dink and dunk passing type game.
Yeah.
I could see this being a game where players were coming out and saying, this guy's special. This guy.
They're like, dude, this guy.
It was LeGarrette Blount that said that.
Right.
Yeah.
His competition.
And you're not going to be saying that if he's not doing things on the practice field. So he's ready to play.
Yeah. So
it just depends if the coaches get him in the game plan or not.
Maybe Belichick was like, let's play mind games with the league.
I think if you play multiple tournaments, throw this guy in.
He's your 3,300 to put in at the end, and he may get you 20 plus points.
And he's going to be extremely low.
Get you 20 points.
No one knows what it's going to do.
Oh, you're sitting right at the top of the heap in that tournament. Okay. All right, what do you got over here, Dr. Nick?
For tournament games for Fight or Flight, I'm actually going to go Julian Edelman. And the reason why I'm going Julian Edelman is because he's kind of had an up and down season. He hasn't been as productive as he usually has been.
You saw he's getting his groove a little bit last week.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, he's still yet to really get in the end zone quite a few times. I feel like they haven't used him in those 5-yard and goal situations like they normally do.
No, they don't. They've just been running the ball straight down people's throats.
Well, this is an interesting little.
He's had that foot issue too, so he's not as explosive as he has been.
Yeah. This is a little interesting tidbit here. The 49ers are actually worst in the league against number 1 wide receivers. And I guess I would consider Julian Edelman to be their number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, it was Hogan there for a little bit.
Or, Gronk would, I guess.
But that's not a traditional wide receiver.
Right.
So, number 1 wide receiver is 32nd against the league, giving up 19 touchdowns this year. I like Edelman to get in at least once. Again, fight or flight because he potentially may not, but I think he's going to get you some targets. So,
boomer bust play.
I like it.
All
All
right.
right. Fat line.
Fantasy Flatliner.
All right, my fantasy flatline for you guys is a tight end here. Another one is Kyle Rudolph. He's going against Arizona, who ranks number 1 against tight ends in the league. They have not given up a single tight end touchdown this entire season. They've only given up a total of 246 yards in the 9 games that they've played. They've shut down guys like Greg Olsen, had 1 reception for 11 yards. Jimmy Graham had 5 receptions for 53 yards. And when Gronk wasn't playing, Martellus Bennett was doing very well. He only had 3 receptions for 14 yards. So Kyle Rudolph does have tied for the league in touchdowns for the tight end position at 5. I don't expect him to do very much against a stout Arizona defense.
Good call. Okay. My flat line for your week in your tournament play games, and I remind you, this is a tournament flat line, someone that you're looking to try to pop in there to get you ahead of the crowd. They're only low owned. This is someone that was kind of on the people's radar to try to be low owned and boom last week in Rob Kelly. Rob Kelly didn't do a whole lot, but he's still there. He's their lead back in Washington, but he's going up against a Packers defense who's 3rd best in the league when it comes to rushing attack. 84 yards only giving up 5 touchdowns on the ground. I don't think you hop on this to try to get ahead on the crowd. You stay away from Rob Kelly this week. If you're going to pick anything from Washington, it's in the air attack.
What's interesting is Rob Kelly is definitely more of a workhorse back, and he does not catch the ball very well.
He either gets it on the ground.
Thompson who's catching the ball.
Right. So you got to, even if you're playing Rob Kelly, you got to assume they're going to be up on the Packers by quite a bit and running the ball to run out clock. He's more situational. If they end up being down to the Packers,
he's not going to get any touches.
Yeah, he's not going to get him at all.
No, I say you stay away from Rob Kelly. He's not going to be that guy to put you and set you ahead of everyone else like they've been talking last week, especially against a stout run defense with Claymaker coming back.
All right, so for my flat line this week, I'm actually going to pick Frank Gore. 93 yards a game, 8th best in the league for the Jaguars. I know we said that you can run on him, but Frank Gore's, he's getting up there in age. It's a little bit later in the season.
Had a lot of carries.
I think they're going to rely on Andrew Luck in the passing game for this one, to be honest.
And I think they're going to be playing from behind in this one, to be fair. So I think that
A lot of passing.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, moving on to our essential picks. So again, these are our picks that you have to put in your lineup. And my essential pick is a guy that no one really knew in the beginning of the season. He's come along hot. Earlier in the season, he was one of my value picks. He was under $4,000, and now he's going to cost you $6,300. His name is Jamison Crowder for the Washington Redskins. He's their leading receiver in yards, receptions, and touchdowns. And he scored in 3 of the last 4 games. 2 of those games he went over 100 yards, and he's just killing it. I mean, Green Bay last week gave up 5 passing touchdowns to Mariota. Oh, wait. Sorry. Let's reverse that. Green Bay had 5 passing touchdowns to 5 different receivers last week. So,
The guy is drunk.
Thank you very much.
The guy is drunk.
He didn't even drink an ice.
Yeah. Come on, Nick.
Well, there's that.
We've been talking about Jamison Crowder a few times in the past, and I think he's become a pretty good target for Kirk Cousins.
He catches everything. I was down on him last week. You were talking about him. You're like, he's going against Minnesota. I'm like, he's going against Minnesota. He's going to be up against Terrence Newman, which was replacing Captain Munderland. He's that slot, and he comes out, but he catches everything, and he did catch a touchdown. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I told you.
You did, and I'll give you that. I'll give you credit where credit is due.
All right, so my essential pick in your tournament plays this week is someone I even talked about last week, and I really like. He's on one of my season-long fantasy teams. He's been doing pretty well. Started real hot, kind of lulled middle season. Looks like he's coming back again. Martellus Bennett. And then with an injury to Gronk, potentially, and maybe getting some limited time, didn't practice this week. You don't really know. He's up in the air, could take one hit, and you get hurt again. Martellus Bennett's coming in at 3,700 on DraftKings. He's coming in at 52 on Fanduel. I think you have a big week this week with a 2 tight end set versus a terrible San Francisco defense. 13-point favorites. There's going to be a lot of points scored for the Patriots on this, and I think Martellus Bennett is going to be the end result of some of that.
I mean, if you just compare his price to Gronk,
I mean,
Bennett, like you said, is 52 to 37. FanDuel's 52.
Yeah.
And Gronk is 8,400 in FanDuel, and he's 7,100. He's almost like over $3,000, almost $3,500 more.
Martellus is getting the catches too. You saw him. They split him out just like they did Gronk last game.
I was just about.
He
was out, and he even got some serious.
He had a sick first down catch.
Yeah.
I was just about to say,
who is that guy?
Did you guys see that back shoulder throw?
Yeah,
where
he caught it like it was nothing.
Caught it like I'm like,
and he tiptoed along the sideline.
Who is that
tiptoed
guy?
along the side. I'm like, is that a big receiver? Oh no, that's Martellus Bennett.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, he's an athletic guy. He really is. Now Gronk's more of a lumbering kind of tight end.
He's a brute.
He's a brute, but he's an athletic. Now Martellus is just as big, maybe not as heavy, but he's more slender. He looks more like a receiver.
He looks good.
I thought he was a receiver when he got that.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that was a great call on your part.
I like Martellus Bennett.
That was a great call.
Yeah, Martellus Bennett's my essential pick for your tournament plays. I think he's a great play.
I like that.
My essential pick this week, I'm sticking with the tight end position. I'm going with Greg Olsen. I think you have to jump on this Thursday night game. New Orleans, we talked about this, giving up the most yards in the passing in the league.
Yes, that is correct. 292 per game.
292.
Almost 300 yards a game they're averaging.
We got Greg Olsen, who's coming in as Cam Newton's number 1 and 2 target.
Mm-hmm.
And again, another little interesting side note here. New Orleans Saints have traditionally been terrible against the tight end position. They continue that as being the 28th in the league against the tight end position. I like Greg Olsen. Pay up for him. He's going in the end zone.
There's a lot of talk about tight ends this week.
There's been a lot of tight end action in leagues all across this entire. It's tough to find someone that is. So your Greg Olsen has been pretty consistent this year. Jimmy Graham has come on late, and your Gronk. Other than that, it drops off pretty quickly most of the time. Jordan Reed has been all right.
Martellus Bennett has his weeks.
He's been out for about 4 to 5 weeks. He hasn't done anything.
There's a lot of hit and miss, and you just have to hit on the. Hunter Henry was killing for a couple weeks, and then Antonio Gates came back.
I feel like 2 or 3 years ago in fantasy, you could pick up a tight end. He would fill in for you. You better know what you're talking about and what you're going to fill in.
I like it. All right.
Flight players.
All right, my fight or flight player for cash games is Theo Riddick. He's going to cost you $6,700 in FanDuel and $5,100 in DraftKings. going against Jacksonville, and we already talked about their rushing defense is not very good. Again, they ranked 28th in the league in the rushing defense, giving up 124 yards per game and 9 touchdowns in 9 games. So there's not really much to the backfield other than Theo Riddick back there. You're not going to play Justin Forsett. You're not going to play Amir Abdullah. Is not anywhere. He's off the field, and he's also a guy that's going to catch balls. He's had at least 4 catches in every game he's played except for one, and that one time he didn't was against Minnesota. So I believe he's going to get you points with PPR, full point in DraftKings. He's going to get you at least 4 points there, and I could see him getting a touchdown and 100 yards.
Catches the ball well.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm staying on the same team. My fight or flight for your cash game plays is going to be Marvin Jones. Now, he came in hot for the season. It's been more of he was a top-tier guy. He still is. He's been kind of in a lull in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Hasn't done a whole lot. Hasn't been real flashy. I think maybe he's only had 1 touchdown in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Not a whole lot of yards. But this week he's coming in at $5,000 on DraftKings for you. And $6,500 in Fanduel. He's playing against the Jacksonville defense, only taking the ball away 3 times. Only 3 interceptions. Matt Stafford's at home. I think he has a big bounce back this week. I think there'll be a lot of points scored for the Detroit team this week.
Yeah, I like Detroit. I like Marvin there. My fight or flight player for cash games is going to be Dante Moncrief, and I'm considering using him as an essential play. I think he's become the number 2 target again. He's their number 1 receiver in the red zone. He's
a big body.
He's a big body. He catches touchdowns.
T.Y. Hilton's going to get you the boom play, and he's going to get you the safe play.
Yep. Yeah. Especially if this is a PPR, which DraftKings is, and so is FanDuel's a half point. I like Dante Moncrief to catch quite a few balls this week. They're 3rd in yards, but they are giving up a decent amount of touchdowns. So I like him to get in the end zone. That's why he's a fight or flight player.
I like it.
Fantasy Flatliner.
All right, time for my flatline / bust of the week for this my cash games, and that's Jordan Howard. Everybody's been on Jordan Howard since he killed it against Minnesota. But he's going against a Giants defense, and people don't think about this defense too much, but they're 5th in the league against the run. They have not given up a 60-yard rusher since week 6 and have yet to give up a 100-yard rusher all year. Last 100-yard rusher they gave up was last year, week 16, against the Minnesota Vikings. Adrian Peterson went off.
Wow. Okay.
So I do not see Jordan Howard going off. He might catch a couple balls, but he's not a guy that's going to be worth his price to pay.
That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
I know. I was looking through stats. I was like, is this
That's pretty
real?
good. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay, so I'm going for my flat line in your cash games this week, Stephon Diggs.
Ooh.
Someone who it's just been a PPR machine. I think
13 receptions last 2 games each.
I feel like he had almost 10 of those in one of those drives at the end of the game last week.
He did.
He had 8 receptions
he literally
in one
did.
drive.
Yeah.
So, but you know who he's going up against?
Patrick Peterson.
And Arians even said he's going to shadow him the whole game.
Yep.
And if I have to bet on that, I'm betting on Patrick Peterson because he's just a shutdown corner. He's in the prime of his career. Stephon Diggs is good, but
he's also
Jake
young.
Long is gone. The Achilles is gone. There's another hole in that offensive line. There's just too many doubts.
That's all there is. There is holes.
Oh my god!
It's the worst offensive line in the league.
It's tough to watch.
It's
historically
feel
bad.
What are you gonna do, Nick?
Who's going to left tackle, actually? You know?
Linval Joseph?
No. Actually,
throw Harry the Hitman over on left tackle.
I think Aaron Boone, is going to move over to left tackle.
Boone's going to go to tackle?
That's what they were talking about. They were talking about him. I think Searles is going to be...
Sherrills.
Yeah, I don't think Searles is going to be doing
not blocking.
He's not blocking. Searles is going to be taking
the guard
position. Yeah.
Wow.
Otherwise, we did pick up a guy from Jacksonville, but he's a rookie out of Louisiana Tech, I think. So who knows?
How's that 4th round pick treating you?
Either way, it doesn't sound like a good deal.
No, they're working with scraps
tough,
there.
though. I mean, it's injuries. It happens. It's unfortunate to see that happen.
We weren't very good to start off with, and now we're just playing with.
I just don't see even more holes in the offensive line. Going up against Patrick Peterson, it's Diggs. You got, and he's not going to get what you pay for him. He's my flat line for the week.
I agree.
You guys, people are gonna like probably jaws drop. People are gonna be like, "What?
This could be a bad situation. Hopefully,
yeah. This
is a flat line, and it's from Green Bay.
No,
no way.
Oh, that would never happen.
Are you kidding me?
Absolutely not.
How dare you?
I expect every Packer.
It'll be
to score
90 degrees
touchdown.
in December when that happens in Minnesota.
I expect at least 3 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers is going to score like 2 rushing, give the belt, throw.
Aaron
like
Rodgers is going to throw 3 interceptions.
Is that a bet? 2 rushing touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers?
No, but he said Aaron Rodgers is going to throw 3 interceptions, but get 2 rushing touchdowns.
I didn't even say interceptions.
He did it. Say interceptions. It'll replay back, and you said interceptions, and I cannot wait for you to be like, you son of a bitch.
No. Anyways, I'm taking Ezekiel Elliott as my flat line. And he's playing Baltimore, who is number 1 against the rush. Quietly, they are the best rushing defense in the league. I think this could be a game that makes things interesting. Maybe bring Tony Romo back.
No,
in
he's
the
not
picture?
coming back.
Hey, who are
not
you?
after Jerry illustrated that whole.
Did you see the press conference he
He's
just
not
had?
coming.
I had a tear coming from my eye, and I don't even like Romo.
What happens if the Cowboys drop 3 straight?
What happens if that happens? Okay, then we're talking a different story, but that's 3 weeks from now. Okay. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, this could easily be a game the Cowboys drop. Easily.
I disagree.
Is it in Baltimore?
Yes, I believe they're up.
No,
Baltimore.
it's in.
They're at Dallas.
Jerry World.
It's in Jerry World, but they're projecting a lower scoring game. They still have the Cowboys by 7. I see this game as a letdown.
Let me ask you this because I feel like a bet coming on. Because like I said.
She has a bet coming on.
I feel like you give me, what do you think are Ezekiel's projections, and we can go off of that.
Man, okay, you guys, next 3 weeks, Ravens at home, going to Washington, divisional game.
I could see him drop that game.
I could see him drop that game too.
They're not going to.
Thursday night game against the Vikings.
They'll drop that game.
Oh
yeah. I'll cheer for that one, though, because we're going to be there. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Color rush.
No, let's get back to
that could be 3 straight
It's not going to happen, not with that offensive line.
Then you get not 3 straight.
I thought about
Tony Romo back in, you get the Giants, you get the Bucks, you get the Lions, and you round it out with the Eagles, make the playoffs. Tony Romo goes home Super Bowl champion.
Not happening.
And he breaks his back again. And Dakota comes in.
Collarbone, yeah. So, anyways, what are your projected stats? So, he's your flat line. Tell me what you expect him to get, and we can go after that for a bet. Let's see what we're talking about.
For Zeke, I don't know if I want to bet on Zeke.
Well, he's your flat line, so what is he going to be? That's what I'm saying. Give me some stats for Zeke.
Well, I don't think he's going to have traditional 20-some points in DraftKings.
So I'm saying I'm going to bet for Zeke. You're going to bet against him because you don't think he's going to do very well.
20-point mark again? You do real good with the 20-point mark, Nick.
20-point mark's a lot for running backs. Give me that would not. I would not consider that a flat line.
I bet Kyle Rudolph gets more than 1 point this week.
Okay,
come on now. Let's get serious.
No. Tell me why
he's the best running back in the league. That's a.
No, I'm asking. Give me a projection point total that you had to request him as your flat line.
I bet he doesn't go over 25 points.
He's a flat line. That's an awful
25.
He's a flat line. You should might as well go 16.
What's the most expensive running back in the league?
He's not. Le'Veon Bell is the most expensive.
Okay, so he's the
like
second most.
No, he's like 4th.
Okay.
What are the projections? What are the points he's had in the last 4 games?
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to look this up because.
Jeez. See, this kid, he has the flat line, but doesn't have the balls to bet on it. Come on.
I had Matt Ryan last week, and I said less than 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I took that bet.
Yeah, you lost.
I'm asking you. I'm saying, give me and that's for a quarterback. Okay, that's not that easy to do. To do 20 points is quite a bit.
That was a fair bet.
Yes,
20 points was a fair bet.
I feel like Ezekiel, if he's your flat line, I would even do 18 points. I feel like 18 points is a good. He's not willing to take 18 points. He needs your flat line, ladies and gentlemen. No balls.
20 is still fair.
Whatever. 18 points, sure.
18. Less, he's got to get 18 or less. So if he gets 18 and then
that's such a joke. Whatever. That's fine. Whatever.
He gets so salty with his bets.
Yes.
I didn't pick it. I want to pick a bet for Nick.
Negotiate the bet here.
I'm negotiating.
Kyle Rudolph, 1 point. Let's do this.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, so was the Ezekiel Elliott thing.
He's your flat line, though, so I'm going off of your flat line. So
I won't do as well as people who are paying up for him in cash games. You have better options.
I get that. So that's what I'm saying.
Why he's a flat line.
So let's do 18 points. 18 points is still a really good score for a running back.
All right, that's fine.
But, all right, there we go, folks.
There we go. Fine.
Can't wait for you to check again.
It's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Then don't make the bet.
Yeah,
don't make the bet.
I cannot wait for he's on the knee next week and he'll be like, "Oh, this is so stupid." Well, you obviously need some practice after chugging it this week.
That's true.
He killed you by like 5 seconds.
He got a head start.
It was like he was driving a Ferrari, back there in a little Beetle.
Hey, brought me back to my undergrad days.
Yeah, right. on the knee, you're just used to. All right, so let's move on. I think we're on our essentials now, aren't we, boys?
Essential picks.
All right. My essential pick is a guy we talked about a little earlier, and we're not sure what they're going to do in this backfield, but for what he's done over the course of the year, is a guy that I think you have to have in your lineup against the San Francisco's defense. That's LeGarrette Blount. They ranked dead last in the rushing, giving up 13 touchdowns in the last 7 games. So they gave 13 touchdowns all year. They didn't give up a rushing touchdown the first 2 games they played. Last 7 games is where they gave up all of their rushing touchdowns, and they've given up multiple touchdowns to the running backs in 5 out of those 7 games. Blount has had 8 touchdowns in the last 5 games, and he himself has had 13 rushing touchdowns over the course of this season, and that was in the 9 games that he's played. LeGarrette Blount is basically a touchdown freaking machine.
Well, how many touchdowns is he going to get, Nick?
I think he's going to get for sure 1.
He wants to make a bet.
Well, let's make a bet on 2 then. I bet he doesn't get more than 2 touchdowns.
Look how ornery
So angry.
He's so ornery.
Well,
you didn't have to shake my hand.
If we're going by points, $8,000 for Ezekiel Elliott.
Don't make the bet then.
Don't make the bet.
Don't make the bet then.
Yeah.
2 times the amount is 6.
You didn't have to shake my hand.
didn't have to shake
I
his
know
hand.
I have a very nice, loving hand. You don't have to shake
You guys put me on the spot in front of
Periscope.
I got to look good for you guys on Periscopes. That's why I did it. Peer pressure.
God. You could say no.
What a child.
Here, drink this. No,
how
I
many-
don't want.
What,
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's just like a Packer fan. This is a bitch about little minute things.
How many
Nothing's happened already.
touchdowns is Blount going to get in?
He's going to get 1 for sure. I'll say 1 because 2 is ridiculous. He has had multiple touchdowns.
Why is 2 ridiculous? I had 3 last week, Nick.
Because the reason it's ridiculous because you don't even know if Deion Lewis is going to play. If he's sharing the load with 2 other running backs, it makes it a little bit.
He's your
difficult.
essential play. If he's sharing the load, I mean, why are you telling the people to play him?
Because he's going to get a touchdown.
This is exactly what he did to me.
No, he's going to get a touchdown. He's going to score you for his price.
All right, on to my essential
gonna
play
score
because you guys
20
two are just going to
points.
bicker the whole time here. All right, here we go.
I'll bet you this.
$6,400.
Why don't you do a point total on the bet then?
Yeah,
not a touchdown, but a
That's
point
what I'm
total.
saying.
400, so 2.5 times his points. We're
20
looking
points.
at like 20 points for LeGarrette Blount.
No, we're looking at 15. I like
You said
that.
15.
Yeah.
Let's split the difference. We'll call it 17. Let's
17.
go.
Boom.
17.
For Blount?
Yes.
All right.
All right,
There you go.
There you go.
See, I haven't went up on that one.
I'm just going to be sitting here
See
watching.
how bitter this guy was? Jeez Louise.
Okay, my essential play for your cash games this week is Big Ben. Big Ben's throwing the deep ball this week. His knee's finally 100%. He feels great. It's going to be a lot of touchdowns passed for this worst pass defense in Cleveland. On the road, Cleveland's just terrible. They're so bad. They're not getting their first. They're going to have 25 touchdowns this year in the air, worst in the league. I think Ben's just going to add to
They are
that.
historically bad.
They're the worst.
Anyone
They're
want
the
to
worst.
take a bet?
Second worst statistical team in
Give me something
the
worth
history of
betting for.
NFL.
I give him a sympathy bet. He was going to say 15. I give him 17.
I'll bet that Big Ben has
won't even get
4
15
touchdown
points.
passes.
You want? Okay, would you want to change it to 15?
Yes, I do.
You want to change it to 15
Blount won't
instead?
get 15 points this week. He's splitting the load with 3 different running backs.
That might have been the dumbest. Yeah, you just gave me 2 more points.
I don't care. I'll take that.
Fantastic. I hope he gets 15 and a half.
I think Big Ben has 4 touchdown passes this week.
Ooh, I like it. I'll take that.
You guys agree with that?
Yeah,
though, right?
I
you agree. Okay, I just want to see if you want to take a bet.
No.
All right. So yeah, Big Ben's my essential in your cash games.
All right, I like that.
Over here to the non-salty person, because I gave him points, who's actually taking the bets for Periscope. Love you guys, by the way. You know what? If I have to drink through it, I will. You know, it's...
The guy is drunk.
It's gonna be great because let's say
Just let it happen.
Let's say we each lose our bet.
Then I
We
sit
each
here and
drink.
watch you both.
Yeah, then we drink. But if one of us loses a bet, then if we lose both bets, then shotgunning and chugging an ice.
Well, we never went over the rules of that, but yeah.
We could
more-
figure it
I
out.
mean,
There's some type of
essentially,
liquid.
You're going to be...
Some type of liquid.
something.
There's going to be a lot of liquid going down. You might have to...
That's okay. I'll give you a ride home.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, actually, next
week,
Wednesday
that's
be
what I'm saying.
perfect.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's going to be the
Thanksgiving.
day
Biggest
before
bar night of the
Thanksgiving.
year, people.
No one works on Thursdays.
Drag our ass to the bar.
Yeah, we'll be cheersing up all night long.
We're all drunk.
We will be. Yes, we will.
Yeah. So the best part about that is I'm just gonna make Nick buy the ices again, and then I'll be good to go. So it's whatever.
What do you got for your essential?
Plus, I got the upside of winning both those bets. So
Yeah.
my essential play is Tom Brady.
It's a good one. I like that.
I can't be
I like
arguing with
that
that.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Tom Brady's going to throw a ton of touchdowns, and LeGarrette Blount's not even going to run the ball.
Or he's going to
And
catch
that's
them all.
my stat for that one.
Just like you did last week when we were all huge on Tom Brady, but he ran 3 touchdowns.
I'd laugh so hard if Tom Brady threw two touchdowns
to
to
LeGarrette,
Blunt.
to Blunt.
And that never happens. Like
I
little.
guess we should. Oh well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't-
It's points.
it's
we should have
points, it doesn't
specified running.
I would actually prefer that because then he could get
I don't
more
know if
points.
LeGarrette Blount's ever caught a touchdown.
I don't think he has. That's a good start. I'd like to see if he's actually caught one.
Yeah. All right. So we done with the essentials now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we're
done
good.
with your
All
essentials.
right, so I'm gonna throw a little something out there, guys. If you guys have not downloaded this app, you guys need to. It's called Pub Picks. Pub Picks is a great app. Basically, what you do, you choose 10 different winners, and the top people who pick all those winners wins beer, wins food, wins gift cards. It's super easy. You can download for free on your iTunes or Android.
Yep.
And they have multiple different sports.
Yeah, they had a couple wild games. They had a couple football games.
They even had a Wolves game in
Wolves
there.
game, like even like Jack Levine going to score more or less than 22 points or something like that. It was pretty cool. Like you get little things here.
Is LeGarrette Blount even gonna play this weekend?
That would be a great check mark.
Maybe
yes or no.
they need to put that in there. We'll talk to the creators and see if they want to throw that one in there.
I like it.
But basically, what you do, you type in your city, and they have sports that go towards your city. So, like we're in Minnesota, so then a lot of our sports are geared towards Minnesota. Or if let's say you're in Chicago, then they might have Chicago sports there. So you just type in your city, and then they have bars and restaurants and gift cards around that area.
If you
that
win
can
your
have for
tournament or
free.
you get the best picks, then you get those free things.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Pub Picks.
Pub picks, baby.
That's
Love
PUBPICKS, boys and
Awesome.
girls.
Thank you for that,
Download
Pub
it.
Picks.
So I've been looking at LeGarrette Blount's stats here.
Insane.
Looks like he has like 3 catches for 4 yards this year. So
Watch his 3 catches, 3 touchdowns,
points.
and like 8 yards or
Yeah.
something this week.
Yeah. But his stats overall are just crazy.
at that
Right.
point, if it's true, the world is just against me.
Right.
He's got 1 passing touchdown. It happened to be in 2015.
There you go. Okay.
That's not the bet, though, so it doesn't matter. It's point total.
Should we switch up the prescription today? You want me to start?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Yeah. We'll change it up
Prescription
a
to
little.
win. The guy,
Prescription to win.
Let him know what it is.
Let them know what it is. Okay. Well, what are we doing for the tournament? 75K.
The tournament, we're doing a
275.
275K kickoff special.
Okay. Kickoff special. Okay. Our tournament play here. We are actually going with a tournament play and a cash game play, both from DraftKings this week for our lineup. So
Sorry,
listen to both of them
FanDuel.
here.
Sorry, FanDuel
We
listeners.
just
Send us some more money.
Yeah, send us some more money. We'll start picking from you. So for our tournament play this week, we're starting with our quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Okay, we're going up against that pass defense of the Green Bay Packers. Not that great.
Did you guys hear that? Did you guys see that?
I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know what that was.
Kirk Cousins, instead of coming
Oh,
in
yeah,
and doing
yeah,
the
yeah.
"you like that," he goes, "Ooh."
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. So Kirk Cousins 5,800. And then we're going with Theo Riddick 5,100. And then we're going with Jonathan Stewart at 5,900.
Couple of chalky running
guys.
backs there.
And you can get a lot of receptions out of Riddick.
Yeah, a lot of
He is
3-yard gains out of Jonathan Stewart.
As long as they're for touchdowns.
Yeah, as long as they're in the red, they got 2 touchdowns last time he played the Saints, and he had 85 yards. So
That's right. We're gonna go with the best receiver in the league, Antonio Brown.
First, that wonderful Browns defense.
Yeah, he's going to catch a touchdown. We're going to follow that up with the second wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Eli Rogers
Nice.
for 4,300.
coming out of the slot, like
Yes.
it.
Yep. So that's
25
kind of
touchdowns that Cleveland defense has given up.
a little bit of a bold
Through the
strategy there. Typically, you don't pick 2 receivers from the same team.
This is
but-
tournament.
Yep.
Set yourself
It's a
apart.
tournament,
Yep.
But look what they did. I mean, Cole Beasley was killing it for Dallas out of the slot. They're not very good against slot
Hey,
receivers. so.
PPR. He can get his points. He doesn't even have to score touchdowns. So.
Yep, that is true.
And then we're going to follow it up with Jamison Crowder going against that awful Packers secondary.
God, does that hurt you to say?
No, they're terrible.
Just being honest.
All right, I'm going to finish it out. We're going to go with our tight end, Greg Olsen. He's going to cost you $6,500. And then we're going to go off the beaten path here and take James Starks. Again, we talked about this a little earlier. Washington's given up 13 touchdowns on the ground, and James Starks is going to get the majority of the carries. So I think he can have a touchdown or two.
They keep saying that they're going to have to run the ball to bring this thing around, so
I'm just waiting for it.
He's the only running back on the team right now.
and that's a team to do it against was Washington. James Starks is only going to cost you $4,200, by the way, so he's definitely worth his value. And then we're going to finish it off with the Vikings defense. That was pretty good.
You like that?
Wow.
Yeah,
Are you practicing?
That was the most exciting thing to happen.
I saw the big horn last night, and I was like, I know how to do
The
it.
guy is drunk.
Nice. All right. So now we're going to move on to our cash gameplay. Dr. Curry, do you want to start this one off?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Give him the quarterback.
Do we want to bet on it, Nick?
We're betting $25.
Bet you won't call this right.
We're going to start off the cash game. We're doing $25 double ups this week. We got to get back in the money on these double ups and start banking some cash so we can win big in our tourneys. We're going to start it off with Big Ben. Pretty hard to go away from the team that's giving up the most yards and most touchdowns.
I don't dislike anything about that pick.
If you dislike that pick, you can just get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
I love Big Ben this week. $7,500 pay up for him in cash games. I think he's going to be high owned, but I think you got to be on the same grouping as other people. We're going to stick with Theo Riddick. We like him.
Yeah,
He's going to catch the ball. 5,100, pretty easy to get 10, 12 points out of him. Should do 2.5 times his value. We're going to pay up for Le'Veon Bell.
Pair him with Big Ben. I like it.
Pair him with Big Ben. He could easily catch a screen pass, go in the end zone, little toss play or something. I like those two to get some points together. Le'Veon Bell's electric. This could be a snowy game, to be honest. And I like Le'Veon Bell a lot, especially if the weather is not good, which is weird talking about snow. Yeah.
It seems weird now, but the majority of the years up here,
we've had snow by now.
We've had snow.
Yeah.
2 years ago, it was negative like 15 degrees.
We had a
And
huge
I was
snowstorm.
I was ice fishing at this time a couple of years ago, and it's 60 degrees this week.
Yeah,
so
they've gone
there's
boating.
That.
You seriously could have.
I'll take the wide
Go ahead,
receivers here. The wide receivers, we're starting off with Dante Moncrief. He's going to cost you $6,100. We're torn between him and T.Y. Hilton, but to be fair, I think either one of those players are going to be a very good play. And Dante Moncrief is about $1,600 cheaper than what T.Y. Hilton's going to cost you. Then we're going to follow up with Marvin Jones, like Dr. Nick talked about earlier. Marvin Jones is expected to have a bounce back game.
I think he's been down for the last 2 to 3 weeks here, but I think he's going to come back hot.
And we're high on Jamison Crowder. He's scored in basically the last 4 games. He's killing it. He's going to cost you $5,400. And then let's shoot over to Dr. Brecky.
Okay, we got for a tight end something a guy we're real high on again this week for a lower price. Martellus Bennett. Gronk had injury last week, not really sure where he's at. Martellus' salary is way lower. You see a lot of upside in what he's going to be doing this week versus that San Francisco's pass defense. Not great. A lot of points going to be scored for New England. Martellus Bennett is our tight end. Our flex, Rashard Matthews.
God, I like
scored 5
touchdown machine.
Was it like at least 1 touchdown in the last 5 weeks, and one of those was a 2-touchdown week, something like that. Rashard Matthews, Tennessee and Mariota are hot. They're playing against a secondary in Indy that's subpar.
At home, you said they've been giving up 344 yards a game passing.
At home. And they've only, in this entire season, only have 3 takeaways from the second, only 3 interceptions. So they're not going to take the ball away. And you're coming against with a hot quarterback and Rashard Matthews. They got a good connection. I think it's going to be a big play.
I'm taking Tennessee in this game.
Like
if I'm picking, especially with the points, they're getting points, I'm taking Tennessee.
And then we're finishing up again. We're staying with the Vikes defense. They're playing the Cardinals, but I mean they've been averaging 11 points.
Carlson Palmer's prone to turn it over.
He's been
turnovers.
Really
hit and miss.
Yep.
So who knows?
3,300 for the Vikes, and then that rounds off our cash game.
So guys, that's anything else to say? Bitter Curry over there. You got?
We're putting a lot of trust in the Vikings this week. They better get their stuff together.
A lot of trust. We had 2 flat lines from them. Kyle Rudolph and Stefan Diggs. We just like the defense.
We're putting a lot of trust in.
It's a big trust.
The Vikes.
Until they've dropped 4 straight.
The Vikes, Crowder, and Theo Riddick are the 3 that we've doubled up on each of these lineups. So if Crowder Theo Riddick and the Vikes pan out, we're going to be sitting pretty.
Yeah, because I think the rest of our lineup is going to pan out.
I think
the rest is
the one there that I'm iffiest on would probably be Theo Riddick.
That's what I am too.
For the price point, Theo
we need a
Riddick's
catch
middle
for
of
a
the pack.
touchdown.
I mean, the only one I would consider. I mean, there's a few guys that I would consider putting in there, but I mean, James Starks. He's not really part of our lineups, but he should.
He is in our lineup.
He is part of our lineup,
Yeah.
but he's not part of our
protocol.
picks.
Gotcha.
He's not part of our picks. He should have a decent opportunity against a weaker rushing.
The thing I love about Theo is what he can do with the catching the ball, and that's going to get you a lot of extra points.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be pretty valuable, and they're going up to 28.
You could get your salary just in the receptions, 5 receptions.
Exactly.
I do not know what's going to come of that game.
It's going to be interesting.
Seems
you know
a lot
what?
for the Lions.
It's going to be interesting to watch. There's a lot of good games to watch. There's a lot of high-scoring games. Dr. Curry and I were talking about earlier. There's like 4 games that are projected over 50 points.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of points scored. So there's a lot of games where you can take either or. I personally think Allen Robinson is going to have another killer game against that awful Detroit backfield.
Does he get Slay against him?
I don't even know if Slay's even playing yet.
I don't know if he is
So,
either,
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of value to play with. And so you just kind of got to make your lineups. You can use our lineups as a guideline if you don't want to use them directly. But other than that, I don't really have much to say. Do you guys?
Yep, I don't. Make sure you tune in every week here. We are always here around 8-ish, 8:30-ish Central Time for this podcast on both. We're just doing live here with Periscope. We don't answer your questions now, but we do a live stardom sit-em every Sunday morning around 10:30. I would say Central Time. You can answer your questions then. Be ready for that. Follow us on Periscope. Also, where else should we follow?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, every social media aspect. Get us. Thanks to Pub Picks.
Thank you.
Check out Pub Picks
And
download it.
If you're listening on Periscope, I know you guys can't hear all the sound effects. All of our sound effects and everything else will be up on our website at www.fantasysportdrs.com. That has all of our previous podcasts as well. If you just want to check out a couple things that we've done before, we are hosting a contest. Once we get to 1,000 likes on Facebook, then we will be giving out a jersey of your choice. We'll contact you once we get 1,000 likes, and just tell your friends. And thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good luck on this week's picks.
Let's all win some money. Let's go.
Win
Cheers,
some money.
boys.
Here, cheers.
And hopefully I win my bet against Curry. There we go. Woo!